Hey guys, let's look at some charts. I've got Bitcoin. We always start with Bitcoin, but this time I just want to start with the 1 hour because yesterday we had a pretty nice breakout. The breakout was too big to catch, so we were looking for a pullback to enter along. So we would have actually got a valid entry. Here's our breakout here. We measured some fibs, and a 0.5 or a 0.618 pullback and rejecting the EMAs would have been definitely a valid entry, and we got that. Got a couple of beautiful tweezer bottom candles there, which would have been a great entry to go long, but I opted not to take this trade. If we did take the trade, we'd just target about 10,900 area, the previous top, so we could have used pretty good leverage and it would have still been a nice risk reward trade. But the reason we didn't take this trade was mainly because of the 4 hour and how that candle finished. And it's this candle right here. This is the breakout candle. Let me just draw in that trend line for us. So that's the breakout candle there, and you can see that it was quickly squashed by the bears and came all the way back down. So those types of candles are a big massive red flag for me. And as you can see, price just hasn't followed through. It's actually selling off now. So that's the reason behind that. Bearish pressure kept me out of the trade, and also the daily was a consideration as well. As you can see, we've got this bottom trend line here. Now we've had 2 bounces and a rejection there, so that's the third before breaking through. So we've actually gone sideways, but we could actually just have had a minor break, and now we're just tracking the bottom of it. So that daily candle that's just closed a few hours ago has rejected the daily 50 MA and the bottom side of this trend line. So from here I do actually anticipate more of a sell-off. So 9,400 is a pretty key level. If we don't bounce from there and break it, we're heading to 8,400 and possibly quite a steep sell-off. So pretty important level here. If we want to remain bullish, we need to pop back up above this trend line and break this the top of this pennant as well. This is a bullish pennant. It's a continuation pattern, but we've broken to the downside, so it may not be valid any longer. But later this week we should really determine a decent direction for Bitcoin in the coming weeks. So hence no trade on that one. Glad we stayed out of that one. That's all I've got for Bitcoin at the moment. The weekly, we'll just touch on quickly. Still not really much to see on the weekly. Still trading between 9,500 and 11,500. Pretty tight range. We're going to break one way to the other, so I expect a decent move when we finally do. Let's have a look at Ethereum. Ethereum on the daily. Just quickly, not too much here yet. Quite good horizontal support we're sitting above right now, so if we break below that we could see quite a steep sell-off, much like Bitcoin. So there'll be a level there, a couple of bounces there, and possibly back to the lows. So about $103, $104 I'd be looking at if we do break $180. So that's quite a good risk reward trade. Let's see what that's the break there. So that's a 40% downside move. So if we got 10x leverage on that, that's a 400% trade. So pretty tidy profit. Probably want to break and retest just to confirm that we're actually going to use that as resistance. So Ethereum is definitely on the cards coming up. Not much to see on the lower time frames, I don't think. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, so we've developed a pattern quite similar to Bitcoin, which we're still in. False break there and we've fallen back in. So this bottom trend line, pretty important. If we break that, I still won't consider a short until we break 180 because that's pretty solid support levels there. I want to break that and break this before we short. And then, yeah, we can probably go balls deep. That's a pretty good sell-off from there. Bitcoin Cash. Not too much, tracking sideways. Looking at this falling wedge for a possible reversal, but we ended up rejecting this resistance level and the daily 50 MA again and just gone sideways since. So there's nothing here on the higher time frames to trade. Just tracking sideways. So look at the 1 hour. Yeah, 1 hour is pretty ugly too. Not much to see there or trade. Litecoin. Actually, let's open up the weekly. Pretty strong support level here, huge sell-off and decelerated. As you can see, those candles are getting smaller and smaller and starting to flatten out on this key support level. So pretty important area for Litecoin at the moment. We either bounce here and have a solid run back up to this resistance level here and the 20 EMA, or if we break it, we're probably going to go back to the next level. So it could be something coming up for Litecoin as well, but at the moment we're holding support. So there's no short there, but we haven't got a decent reversal pattern for a long. Let's look. No falling wedge or trend line, inverse head and shoulders, nothing like that that would indicate bullish presence. EOS. Minor support, we're sitting on here, same thing, huge sell-off, now decelerating, smaller candles and flattening out. Will this hold and we get a bounce, or are we going to drop off to the next level? Too early to tell. Not too much on the daily. Daily's broken this support level I've got in, but is it valid? There's only one bounce off there, so not a key level. But nonetheless, we had a bounce back here, a bounce here, now a break and retest, and we're just being capped to the downside. So if we do sell off, it's a long way down for EOS, but what have we got in the lower time frames? Not much. We developed a trend line there. So it's somewhat of a pattern, but we did get the breakthrough. So there's a break and a retest. So yeah, I guess we've done a break and retest there. And the next target may be this bottom here. So that was possibly a potential trade there. You'd have to go pretty tight and leverage to get good risk reward, so I'm not sure that that would have been worth the trade. But nonetheless, it's still just a sideways, pretty tight range. Let's have a look at Ripple Weekly. Right, Ripple Weekly. Not at any weekly support or resistance levels, so big sell-off, same thing, deceleration, going sideways, and I've highlighted this box here as a potential accumulation zone, sideways movement for a period of time, and it could very well range between these two levels for quite some time before we shoot up. But when Ripple does go, it goes pretty hard, so big sell-off and pump. So would not surprise me if that happens again one day. Do our best to get it, of course. Let's have a look. What can we build in here? So have we broken and retested the underside? Or is that trend line a bit subjective? That's the thing with trend lines. Some people use wicks, some people use the close of the candle, which I do. So as you can see there, when I first had it drawn in compared to now, we haven't even hit the bottom, haven't even hit the trend line again. So we're still above support. In crypto, I personally like to use the close of the candle, not the wicks. Low volume, only takes one or two big whales to create a wick and a sell-off or stop hunt. So I believe the close of the candle is a better indication of price action. So we haven't got anything on Ripple just for now. ADA. Right, let's go to this chart here. I'm actually eyeing off a short because we've developed a reasonable channel here. And what I want to target is the previous low, and if that breaks, we'll look to target about 285 because that is the weekly low. Whoa. This is the Binance chart. The The Bittrex chart goes a little bit lower than this, but this is a previous support level. If we break down here and head lower, we could get there. The last weekly's close was a doji, so that pullback has been stunted, stalled, and we could be about to roll over again, but that sell-off has been large. So shorting here, you're at the bottom of the run, got to be very, very careful. But nonetheless, well, let's adjust this a little bit more. So yeah, this is what I'm looking at. Could be a false breakout here, so we could still move to the top of this channel or even this resistance level, but if we do get a decent break here, a confirmation, that will be good enough for me to trigger a short for us guys to get in. So if we get a nice bearish engulfing candle, bearish engulfing is a big red candle with no wicks. It's a solid indicator of bearish momentum coming in. So that's what we'll do here. Entry there, that's a 15% move. If we get 10x leverage, that's 150% ROE on the trade. That's pretty good. So the risk reward is there if we get it. We just got to wait for a solid confirmation of a break at this level. I'll just switch to the 4 hour because there's been a repeating pattern with ADA and some entries that upon backtesting we probably could have caught. So you can see how pullbacks, bear flags, have been pretty strong continuation patterns. So look at this one here. I've had a pullback, next run down, pullback, next run down. Also back up here. Pullback, next run down. This one was actually quite a good one if it was caught. So we had a break and retest. That's a really nice candle rejecting the bottom side of that trend line. Nice beautiful wick to head down lower. And if you trailed the 4 hour 50 EMA, you would have stayed in this trade for a very, very long time. So that's what we're looking to do now. We just want to confirm the breakdown of this next phase line to head to our support level and possibly even lower. Could there have been more opportunities in this bear run? So you can draw them all the way along. Here's one here, it's pretty aggressive. Breakdown there, so break and retest of that 50 EMA would have been quite nice. Even another one here. That created a new high though, so that trade probably not valid. So you're still making lower highs and creating a phase line, and a break upon the phase line is a valid entry. They're quite aggressive. I don't take them all the time. I usually look for not just a phase line, but a rising wedge, a bear flag or a pennant or something like that. So I'm looking to be a little bit more aggressive with my altcoins now. We're getting towards the bottom of a run, but when we do finally have a proper alt season and a reversal, I want to be catching these moves and staging in more trades as we go. So these 4 hour candles look quite good actually. Hopefully in the next 4 to 8 hours we might get a trade on this one. Also was interested in Tron yesterday, but it's gone sideways. So this is what I mean, what I said before. That's a phase line, but I like to see a rising wedge or a bear flag as a continuation pattern. So we've got a break and a retest. I wanted a decent proper retest because Tron can pump sometimes and catch you out. So I want to get a good entry value point. So I wanted a 0.5 or a 0.618 fib, a proper retest of the EMAs here. We didn't quite get it. We're only a few sats off. I haven't ruled out the trade. This is probably just a bit of a continuation before more of a sell-off, but I don't want to enter this low. I want between 172 and 175 sats to get in. So we'll see how this one develops, but it might be gone just for now. And Tron long term, it's in a bit of trouble really, Tron. There's no weekly structure here at all, possibly until 30 or 40 sats. Huge sell-off, and we are decelerating at this level here, but there's no weekly support. There's nothing there, it's just stalled. Let's have a look at the daily. Nothing on the daily as well, so I think we're heading to 100 sats at least, but it's a matter of whether we break this little consolidation period here. If we can sort of break this little box here, it'll probably accelerate pretty fast down to 100 sats. That's a 35% move down to 100 sats. So if we can get some sort of valid entry on that, that'd be quite a good trade. It's a huge long run. Catching shorts at this area is pretty risky, but when you have no support structure, there's no reason at all for it to reverse out of nowhere. It can still happen, of course. You can still get stopped out and lose the trade, but generally horizontal support and resistance levels act as a magnet once they get to a certain point. So Tron looks like it's in a bit of trouble. Hopefully we can get a trade in it. That's it, guys, for the market review. Just waiting on ADA at the moment. Bitcoin, I don't really have anything for it just for now. I'm glad we didn't enter that long. It was a trap based on the 4 hours. That's why multi-time frame analysis is really important. The 4 hours really starting to accelerate now. Yeah, so we could be heading lower in the next coming days. Alright, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll try and get out another video to you guys in a few more days.